I'm reading the Bible, Genesis chapter 31, verse 22. Laban persuades Jacob. On the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. Taking his relatives with him, he persuaded Jacob for 7 days and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. Then God came to Laban and Aram in a dream at night and said to him, "Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad." Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country of Gilead when Laban overtook him, and Laban and his relatives camped there too. Then Laban said to Jacob, "What have you done? You deceived me, and you've carried off my daughters like captives in war. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Why didn't you tell me so I could send you away with joy and singing to the music of timbrels and harps? You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. You have done a foolish thing. I have the power to harm you. But last night, the God of your father said to me, 'Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad.' Now you have gone off because you longed to return to your father's household. But why did you steal my gods?" Jacob answered Laban, "I was afraid because I thought you would take your daughters away from me by force. But if you find anyone who has your gods, that person shall not live in the presence of our relatives. See for yourself whether there is anything of yours here with me, and if so, take it." Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the gods. So Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the tent of the 2 female servants. But he found nothing. After he came out of Leah's tent, he entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household gods and put them inside her camel's saddle and was sitting on them. Laban searched through everything in the tent but found nothing. Rachel said to her father, "Don't be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand up in your presence. I'm having my period." So he searched but could not find the household gods. Jacob was angry and took Laban to task. "What is my crime?" he asked Laban. "How have I wronged you that you hunt me down? Now that you have searched through all my goods, what have you found that belongs to your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the two of us. I have been with you for 20 years now, and sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have eaten rams from your flocks. I did not bring you animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself. And you demanded payment from me for whatever was stolen by day or night. This was a situation. The heat consumed in the daytime and the cold at night, and sweat fled my eyes. It was like this for 20 years. I was in your household. I worked for you 14 years in flocks. 14 years for your 2 daughters and your 14 flocks. And you changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham and fear of Isaac, had not been with me, you would surely have sent me was empty-handed. But God has seen my hardship and the toil of my hands. The last night he rebuked you." Laban answered Jacob, The women are my daughters. The children are my children. And the flocks are my flocks. All you see is mine. Yet what can I do today about these daughters of mine? Or about the children they have borne? Come now, let's make a covenant. You and I. And let it serve as witness between us. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. He said to his relatives, gather some stones. So they took some stones and piled them in a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jegar Sahadutha, and Jacob called it Gilead. Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me today. That is why it was called Gilead. It was also called Mizpah. Mizpah, M-I-Z-P-A-H. Because he said, may the Lord keep watch between you and me. When we are away from each other, if you mistreat my daughters, or if you take my wives besides my daughters, even though no one is with us, remember that God is witness between you and me. Laban also said to Jacob, here is this heap, and here is the pillar I have set up between you and me. Between you and me. This heap is a witness, and the pillar is a witness. What I will not go past this heap to your side to harm you, that you will go past this heap and pillar to my side to harm me. May the God of Abraham and the God of Noah, the God of their father, judge between us. So Jacob took an oath in the name of the father of his father Isaac. He offered a sacrifice there in the hill country and invited his relatives to a meal. After they had eaten, they spent the night there. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then he left and returned home. That was chapter 31, verse 36 all the way till 55 on chapter 31. Thank you, in Genesis.